I'm Diego Cordovez.
Adam Schoenfeld.
Welcome to The Scoop, brought to you by Full Tilt Poker. We had Gavin Smith on last week.
I went to Jeff Schulman and I said, I don't care what it costs, damn it. I need more Gavin this week.
Let's have another. So we flew him back.
First class.
On our Scoop private
room,
plane.
food, comped.
Right. We comped him at the Scoop Hotel.
New Orleans.
And we've got him for episode number 2. If you missed episode number 1, it's on Card Player TV. Because with a man of Gavin's depth, you can't just come in right in the middle. You need the lead up in episode 1. And here he is for episode number 2. One thing that's interesting is you've been around for a while. And just like the old cliche about Hollywood stars who became overnight successes after years of...
After 7 years of toiling through nothingness.
Yeah, of waiting tables and making commercials for car dealerships, whatever. I don't know what the full story is, but all of a sudden you started winning World Poker Tour tournaments and cashing big and making deep runs.
He would have $1 million cash every other week for a while.
10K events, and you were Player of the Year in the World Poker Tour. But you're not an 18-year-old guy who just was playing on his laptop in college. I mean, you were here in Las Vegas for a while playing.
Not so much in Las Vegas. I lived in Canada for. I toiled around for 6 years as a pro, playing cash games, playing single table satellites. Very occasionally playing tournaments because I just couldn't afford it. I played main events if I satellited in. That was it.
So was it just a matter that you got a backer and started playing the big events?
Yeah, Eric
or was there like a big change in terms of your play itself?
No, I mean, there was a big change once I started being able to play more events, but basically I owe everything to Eric Lindgren. You know, if he didn't start backing me, I never would have got the opportunity.
And you had success right away?
Not right away, no. He started backing me at the World Series 2004. And I cashed in the main event. It was just the main event I played. I cashed the main event. Then I went and I played championship poker at the Plaza right after. We took $10,000 of the profits. And I final tabled that. And then I did a fair bit of nothing from May of 2004 until May of 2005. I mean, I cashed 5 or 6 times maybe. You know, I cashed a little bit, but I had about 100,000 makeup. And then May 2005, lightning struck and
everything was hitting.
And then, then we went from there. You know, I won the 2K no limit. 10 days later, I won the 10K. And
it was just like boom, boom. I remember reading a blog or some entry, a post you made, and it was about the problem of depositing $1 million check, and that was it. He blew up.
You talked about the importance of the backing. When Bill Edler met with us, he was talking about the fact that Eric isn't a guy who does a lot of talking about poker, who sits around talking a lot about hands or strategies, but did he have an influence on you besides the backing?
Well, that all depends. Like, I mean, Bill and Eric have a different relationship, I think, than Eric and I have as well. I think Eric and I have probably talked a little more poker than Bill and Eric have. As if Bill and I have talked a lot more poker than Bill, I probably talked more poker with than anybody. We used to room together on the road. I mean, Eric will talk poker with you when you want to talk poker with you, when you want to talk poker. But, I mean, he won't jam it down your throat. I think he knows that the people he chooses to back are people he thinks are proven winners. And, you don't take a proven winner and try to make him play your way because they got there somehow. So, so he's there to listen and to help and to talk much the same way as we are for him when you want that. But more or less, you're going to go out there and you're going to drive your own car and see how you can make it.
We talked to Gus Hansen about the fact that he's been a World Poker Tour superstar and a superstar in the Aussie Millions and EPT.
With the women?
And that too.
Yeah.
But not so much in the World Series of Poker, although they're with the women. So, but in the poker sense...
I think it's universal with the women.
Yeah, with the women instead.
We got that locked up.
You've had huge success in the World Poker Tour. In the World Series of Poker, not as much.
No, quite a bit less. I've had a 1 second at the World Series, and that's it.
That was a polite way, but one final table.
Oh, no, I've had more than one final table.
Oh, is that
just
right?
1 second. I had, I believe I had 3 final tables the other year, but it just happened that I came like 9th in all of them.
Is it just the way that... Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just by the time they started the telecast, I was already out.
Right. Is that just the way the chips have fallen, or is there something different about World Series tournaments? It seems like your style would work even better in the World Series tournaments.
Well, I don't...
Not in the preliminaries.
In the preliminaries, it doesn't, because I need chips. I need chips to play my way.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
So when you play with short amounts of chips, I tend to have a little bit of difficulty in those, because I don't I don't pull in my reins enough and play tight till I get that first double up. I think the early events you can do very well on as long as you do that. If you play tight until you get some chips, and then you can start splashing. I've had a lot of success in the main event at the World Series. I've played it 5 times and cashed 3, I think. So I've done reasonably well in that. I think it's more just the way that it's fallen. I don't really think
you're a big stack player, meaning that in the main event and in World Poker Tour events, you start with a lot of chips relative to the blinds, and it's a slow structure. The preliminary events at the World Series are quite different than other main events. You're a main event guy.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I haven't played that many of the preliminaries relative to others, because in the main event, what you were talking about before is a limper's paradise.
Oh, yeah.
The main event, you can limp, and it'll be 7 people limping with you the whole first day. And no one's going to be putting pressure on you. And if they do, then you're getting 50-1 odds because they've got a big pair, and if you hit, you can really make money.
The main event of the World Series is a very special tournament it's distinct in many different ways. But one of the big ones is that for years and years and years and years and years, it was one of the few 10K buy-in events that there were.
For years, it was the only one, right?
And always, people would always say, well, you don't want to go out of the main event with one pair, or with one big pair, or a lot of different. You don't want to do this in the main event because you have to wait a year to do it. Now, the fact of the matter is, nowadays it's not true, but I think people somewhere in the back of their mind, it's subliminally stuck in there that, wait, this is the main event. You don't want to bust out of this one with one pair.
Well, the other thing too is if you play in some super satellite in your poker club or bar or something, and you've got everybody behind you, and you fly out here, and everyone's wondering how you do, and you come out, you don't want to be knocked out in hour 1. First of all, you've made the whole extravaganza, now you're out in 1 hour, and now you have the whole explanation. You go back, oh no, it was a good player.
Yeah, I'll just hold on to day 2 and then ante out.
Right. It's funny, but that is a lot easier, much the same as there's players out there that, I think like to take bad beats because they get to tell about it.
It's a moral victory.
That is true. People just don't want to bust out quickly because it does suck to have to tell people. It does. I mean, it sucks even when you're a professional. It sucks to have to tell people that you busted out in the first hour or day or night.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But even with a sophisticated backer, it's like you make it to day 4 and deep, and you say, hey,
well, that sounds better than telling you guys, oh yeah, your 10,000's gone.
And you might have actually made a better play. Right. You might have played better, but you're out in 5 minutes. It's like, what's with this guy?
It's kind of interesting that you say that because after the World Series, I made the drinking bet, and then I went and played the Bellagio Cup, and I got kind of deep in the Bellagio Cup. I think I busted around 40th or something like that. But on my final hand, a European guy opened for a very big raise, and I'm on the button, and I have ace-10, and I have a slightly above average stack, but I really don't think that this guy's got much of a hand, and I decide to jam on top of him. Well, now the little blind goes into thought. About 5 minutes later, he finally moves in over top of me. He finally moves over top of me. Now the European guy folds. Right now, the European guy got all mad at me and stuff, but he had a small pair. I had ace-10, and I flopped a 10, but the other guy had 2 jacks and knocks me out of the tournament. So I'm out of the tournament, and I call Eric, and I'm like, man, I had a run. I had some chips together. I was doing all right, we have the discussion about the final hand because sometimes we do that, and this one was a kind of an interesting hand, I thought, and I'm talking to him about the hand, and I'm like, well, this is why I did what I did, and this and this and this, and Eric's like, well, I don't know, you were fine in chips, you probably didn't have to do that, it was maybe a little too rash, you maybe jumped the gun on that, you're a little too quick, whatever, and I'm like, yeah, I can sort of understand that. And so we're fine, we hang up and we agree we'll play the next tournament. And then about 45 minutes later, I got a phone call back from Eric. And he's like, I was just thinking about it. And he goes, you were right. The guy was weak, and you made a move on the guy that was weak, and that was a good play. And, you got really unlucky that the guy woke up with a hand behind you. So, I just wanted to let you know that I was thinking about it, and I kind of agree with what you were saying a little bit, too.